Today we're going to be taking a look at some of the best advice that I can give new players who are just playing TCG Card Shop Simulator for the first time. I'm going to cover some of the things that I found to get XP quickly, also a good way to make money, and some options that you should take within your shop to help prioritize building your business stronger, faster, and tougher than ever before. So let's get into it. So let's start with XP, because to pretty much do anything in this game, you need to acquire licenses. And well, they cost money, but they also require a certain shop level. And some of the things that I'm going to teach you in this video about how I found to get good money is definitely going to require your shop level to be increased. One of the best ways that I found to do this is to sell exclusively booster packs. NPCs spawn with a certain amount of money in their pocket. And so if you're selling booster packs at market price, then they're going to buy more of these because they have their set income. So an NPC may have like $100 and they'll come in and they'll spend that $100. And if they're buying these items at market price, they're going to be able to buy a lot more. And since every item sold translates to XP in this game, that means that you're going to be making a lot more XP by simply selling a lot of items. In short, don't worry too much about selling large profit items if XP is your main goal. Stick to smaller, cheaper items to raise that XP quickly. First of all is your passive income. By putting down these tables within your store, you're inviting customers to come in and play the card game, and they will spend $7 per hour that they are in the store. This is going to generate you passive income where you have no upfront costs. While this isn't a lot of money, it is income that you don't have to restock, you don't have to manage, and it's just coming in naturally. So the more tables you have, the better for your store. And with a new update coming out that focuses on tournaments, you're able to now assign prizes and run your own tournaments, meaning that you can make even more passive income by simply having tables in your store. Now I do have mine in this separate shop to the left here, and my main store over to the right, but you don't actually need this second shop here opened up at all to be able to put tables down. You can very easily put your tables in this area as well. And so having these tables and play areas for customers is just a great way to make that passive income with only a small upfront fee of $200 per table. Now if you're still really early on, I found that System Gate was a great way to make some early money. This game sold incredibly well when I first started to stock it. The same can be said about booster boxes. These tend to sell for quite the profit, and you can make a lot of money early on through them, but they're still not the best source of income, in my opinion. And while these are all good options, I feel like we're moving in the direction of what I consider to be the best money-making option within the game. And that is these card tables right here. These alone usually pay for the upgrades that I do around my store, whether it's buying new licenses, expanding the store, including more tables, or purchasing new machines. These card tables usually fund that entire expedition. So let's talk about how I use them and how I structure my store around these things. So the first thing that you're going to need is obviously the card table, which you can actually purchase from my DIY, and it only costs $400. Each table will hold 10 cards, and it will only hold one copy of that card, and you will need to manually restock it. But this is just the starting point buying this table. There are additional things like this here and this there that'll help automate the system to where you very rarely have to do any inputs at all. Now once you've got your card table, you obviously need cards. And you can get cards by simply grabbing booster packs and ripping open the packs. I'm pretty sure that you've already done this by now, especially if you're this far. And you can see on the right hand side just how much each individual card is worth. And as you open pack after pack after pack, you typically get more value in individual cards from the pack than you do for selling the pack on its own. But as you open up packs, you're going to start to realize that that money accumulates very quickly. You can see my binder here is worth 64 grand if I were to sell all the cards in this binder. And then when you've got your cards, you can flick through your binder to find one that you're happy and content with selling. I typically sell cards that are worth less than $100, so we can say pick this one out here, throw that down, We can set it to a price. Now, I usually set these to market price and then I round the price down or up. This way it makes it quicker when I'm checking out customers, as I don't have to keep fiddling around with change. But don't be afraid, especially if you've only got 10 cards and it's your first set of cards, to mark these up a little bit to get that extra money. Customers will complain about the price at first, but I typically find that still all 10 cards that I put out will sell within that day if I mark the price up just a bit. This can be a helpful tip, especially in the early game when you're just trying to make that money and you've only got 10 cards out for sale the entire day. Now, I strongly recommend that when you select which cards to put out, it may be tempting to get that quick buck by selling some of your more expensive cards. But there's a very specific reason why I don't sell mine that I'm going to cover in just a moment. But for now, I would advise you to keep your 8 best cards and not put them out for sale. And I'll cover this a little bit later on, but the main reason is when you grade cards in this game, you can send up to 8 cards off for grading. And that alone will heighten the value into the thousands for some of the more expensive cards, so we want to be saving our best cards to send off for grading. But when you've got some of your card shelves up and running, you might want to consider building some of these. These are pack opening machines, and this allows you to take booster packs and install them into the machines. The machine is then going to open the packs by itself. We just need to load it up with 32 packs. Now, these are the small opening pack machines, so they can only hold 32 packs, but you can get much bigger ones that hold even more. And it's going to take about 4 in-game hours to do. However, this time does tick down even if you are paused and not open with your store. So the time actually isn't going for me in the game because I haven't opened my store, but these machines are still counting down. And these are going to automatically open all of those packs for me, and then I just need to collect my cards at the end. So when you've got your card machines up and running, and your cards out on display with the card shelves here, I would strongly advise picking up the card storage shelf. This allows you to bulk store a bunch of your cards, take them out of your binder, and put them in here. And this is great because it has a quick fill option, and while it is still a little bit buggy, you can set a minimum price for your binder and a maximum price for your binder. And what this will do is when you click quick fill, is it is going to pull all the cards from your binder that are worth more than your minimum price, but less than your maximum price. So like me, when you've got a bunch of cards within your binder, and you kind of know that price point of where you want to keep your cards behind for sending off to be graded, you can set that price point there and have them automatically quick fill with all of your good cards. As you can see, we've got 592 cards in here. Yeah, once you've got those up and operational, you can actually come to your employees and tell him to restock card. And you can set this as his primary task or his normal task, and you can tell him exactly how you want it to be marked up. I'm going to do that, just leave it all at base, because I sell that many cards, I don't mind losing out a little bit by not marking them up. And he'll now go to this storage shelf, grab out a card, and restock these all by himself. And he'll keep doing that throughout the day. Now, I have noticed that this is slightly buggy, as sometimes he'll put down a card but won't actually set the price, in which case you have to manually set the price. So you do have to babysit him just a little bit. I believe that this is a bug where he's not setting the price properly on occasion, because he does set the price most of the time. And these tables alone are really great for making money in TCG Card Shop Simulator. I find that they pay for a lot of things for me. Customers will always buy these cards. They sell like hotcakes. They're one of my most profitable and saleable items. So now let's get on to what is the best way of making money within this game. And it hands down has to be through the grading card system. By grading your card, it will come back as a grade somewhere between a 1 and a 10. These graded cards will get stored in your binder as graded cards. And as you can see, I've got a fair amount of them here. I've been collecting one of each as best I can. But some can come back a grade 1 and be worth absolutely tripe. But most of them come back with a good grade. Now, if we take a look at the TCG price here and click cards, we can get a list of all the cards that are currently out. And if we take a look at, say, this basic rare here, it's worth 15 cents normally. But as we grade it, especially as we move towards a TSA or a TCG 10, it's actually worth a lot more. It goes from being a worthless card at 15 cents to being worth nearly 70 bucks at a 10. Now it costs you 10 bucks to actually send the card off for grading, so I wouldn't advise doing it with simple cheap cards like this. It just isn't worth the trouble. But when you start to look at some of the more expensive cards, let's look at the VidIq Full Art Rare Foil here. It's worth about 2,200 quid here. And if we get that in a 10, it bumps it up to 11,000. But even if we don't get it in a 10, as long as it comes back an 8, we're actually not losing our money by sending it for grading, as it costs 10 bucks to send each card off for grading. Yeah, and there are some cards that go for ridiculous amounts at a TCG 10. Like this one is worth 12,000 normally, but by grading it, look at that increase. It's worth 90 grand. Increasing your card's value by sending it off for grading is one of the best ways to make money and build that expansion you've been chasing. And that brings me into my final tip. You may be tempted to just fill up all of these slots one after the other and send as many cards as you possibly can off for grading at the beginning. And while you can totally do that, I'm not going to tell you not to. I would advise you to space them out. I have mine spaced out every 3 days. It takes 12 days to come back from grading at 10 bucks a card. And early on in the game, you're also going to be paying that 10 bucks delivery fee, so for every 8 cards that we are sending off, we're actually spending 90 bucks to do that. Now we can increase that grading time, or rather decrease it, but the cost goes up. If you want it back every 7 days, they're going to charge us 40 bucks a card, which again isn't too bad as you move into the later game, but this price spirals out of control insanely quick. You can have it cost as much as $1,500 per card graded. And at that point, it may be worth it if you get some of those £20,000 cards come back at a TSA or a TCG 10. But having that 15 bucks go out of your account in the beginning of the game could be detrimental and not worth it. So the best course of action that I have found is to take the 12-day grading time. So we're spending 90 bucks to send 8 cards off for grading. And then 3 days later, I'm sending another 8 cards off. 3 days later, 8 more cards. And then 3 more days later, 8 more cards. This for me creates a system where I'm getting back 8 graded cards every 3 days. And I don't find waiting 3 days for what is going to be an easy 5, 6, 7 or 8 grand at the moment, and that will spiral as you pull rarer and rarer cards. I don't think waiting 3 days is too much of a problem. Yeah, so there we have it. There are my top tips to help you out getting started within TCG Card Shop Simulator. As I play more of this game, I will uncover more secrets and the best ways to tackle certain situations, and I'll certainly be making more videos about that in the future. Meanwhile, if you're looking for a series to binge, then consider checking out the full series where I'm playing through this game and that is still ongoing. And there we have it, the best ways that I have found to make money and XP in the early game in TCG Card Shop Simulator. If you have enjoyed the video, you can support me further by supporting me on Patreon, but a monetary value is never needed, as you can support the channel by simply leaving the video a like, sharing it with a friend, dropping me a comment, or subscribing to the channel. But as always, I am KC, you are the awesome folks. Thank you so much for watching now. You take care, and I shall see you in the next one.